So Celeste and I were doing some back and forth because I originally, our back and forth, which I've got linked in the show notes if you want to see it, started because I asked, hey, is there a place to see like how many bonus stars I have secured for the following season? Because I think that would be a cool thing to see. And there was some back and forth, but like the TLDR on it is like, it's a little more complicated than that. And in that, Celestalon brought up that, well, your stars could potentially also be dictated by your MMR. It's rank or MMR, whichever value is higher as far as the system is concerned.
So basically, once you get to a rank in a given month, you can be sure that you will get at least that many stars, right? So if you get to legend, your MMR doesn't matter anymore. You've got the max number of stars because your rank is legend. So you get your 11 bonus multiplier. And then below that, it's like every time you hit, you know, diamond 5, diamond 10, whatever, you can say, okay, I know for sure I'm going to get 10 stars or 9 stars, but I could potentially, if my MMR is high enough, get 11 stars because actually my MMR dictates I should be in legend, right?
Yes, more or less.
So your rank is like a
10 is the guaranteed for legend. 11 is the max of this.
Okay.
I haven't seen any clarification anywhere about like where you roll over into I'm such a god, I now have 11 stars. And this FAQ doesn't mention it, and none of the conversations I've had with any Team 5 members have mentioned it either. Maybe
but there is a magical, mystical place.
I would imagine
of 11 stars
that it depends is the answer. Because that's very much the answer that comes out of a lot of this. Celestalon in the chat room right now is saying there is no clear line because it's MMR based. So I'm kind of getting like almost a sliding scale vibe from this, that it's kind of like you versus other people that are kind of in your skill level. Don't quote me. This is just my own feeling, but there is an official forum post right now, that CM Kerfluffle put up, which this might be a new CM name for me. I don't recognize Kerfluffle.
I don't recognize it because I'm pretty sure that I would remember that name because it's definitely glorious.
Did you get a secret job at Blizzard, and how are you still podcasting if you did?
That's the secret part.
Right now,
I did not. Just so we're 100% clear.
Yeah. So there's a lot in here, and I highly recommend you go and read it in full if you haven't already. But I'm going to talk about some of the highlights today on today's episode. And first of all, before we even get into how like MMR can affect your stars, there's 2 matchmaking pools, which is something I didn't understand either. Matchmaking by rating, aka MMR, which is what we've been talking about this whole episode, and by rank. And apparently when your star bonus multiplier is bigger than 1 or you are legend rank, you are generally in the first matchmaking pool, which is matchmaking by rating. But when your star bonus drops to 1, meaning you no longer have a bonus multiplier, you are in the second pool, which is, for the most part, matchmaking by rank, which makes a whole lot of sense because if the system is working as intended, that should more or less be working out anyway, whether there's two kind of delineations or not, right? I guess that would be one delineation between 2 things. Doesn't matter. But I found that fascinating. And then they kind of went one level deeper, saying that there are 2 matchmaking pools because everyone resets to bronze 10. This is to help with fair matchmaking, which makes sense. It's also the whole reason MMR was brought up in the first place. And then there are apparently, and this is where I started to get interested because I was curious about MMR Decay, which is something that exists in StarCraft and Heroes of the Storm right now. I believe it also exists in Overwatch. I don't know. I haven't played Overwatch in a really long time. But the kind of thing where like if you do not play a game in X amount of period, your MMR starts to decay, meaning you start going lower even though you haven't technically been losing games or displaying a lack of skill. The game just assumes your knowledge is out of date.
Your skill goes down.
And your skill has gone down because you're out of practice. And that's what I was trying to get out of Celestalon in our back and forth. I was like, hey man, is there MMR Decay? And he's like, it depends. It's not as cut and dry as other MMR systems you may be familiar with. But anyway, apparently at the start of the season, you will recover your MMR to a certain threshold if it dropped below that value, which is based on what your rank is in the previous season. And this is a soft protection against intentionally tanking your MMR so that you're like, for some reason for the next, like, well, I guess it makes actually a lot of sense. Cause if you say I get up to my diamond 5 or legend or whatever, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm already here. I want easy wins at the start of next season. I'm going to just lose on purpose. Q concede. Q concede. Q concede. Yeah. The system goes, nope, you got the legend, mister. Or you got the diamond 5. Or you got the platinum 9. Like, whatever. We're on to you. You're no. We're not matching you against the people that have no idea what's going on, that are just slamming eye for an eye in all their paladin decks.
Those are the people who absolutely know what's going on.
It's been a while since I had an eye for an eye meme, so I just wanted to put it in there.
That's literally what my Animal Crossing island ended up being called. Isle for an Isle.
Isle for an Isle. That's amazing. I didn't hear about this. I saw that thread, but I didn't check back in on it to see what you landed on. But that's
what I landed on.
Obviously, what it should have been is your character name Unicorn something.
Just Joss.
Just Joss. Okay, wonderful.
I didn't get creative with my character. I just am me. I do, however, have unicorn sweatpants in Animal Crossing, so it's basically exactly me.
I'm good to know that you are on brand even in a virtual island.
Yep.
But all of this is anyway. All of this I find really fascinating. Also, MMR is not reset at the end of each or at the beginning of each season, which does not surprise me. If there's like a protection about your MMR not dropping below a certain value, it would make sense that your MMR would also not reset. And apparently there's some sort of renormalization process that takes place at the start of each season to keep the distribution in a nice bell-shaped curve. So like, in short, my understanding here is that our MMR should be relatively close to where it was last season, unless something like really crazy happened. Like maybe, I don't know. I would have to imagine that if you had a pretty low MMR and then you go on a tear and go to Legend, that it's probably going to have some sort of rather sizable correction, but they don't get into that here. And then on the subject of MMR Decay, in the FAQ, they basically say that you will not lose bonus stars for missing one season. They do say, though, that you may lose stars if you miss multiple seasons.
Okay.
But they don't.
So if, let's say I don't play it all this season, which would be crazy, but let's say I don't, then when I log in May 1st, I should still have 8 bonus stars. But if I don't log in again till like August 1st, I might only have, 4 or 5 bonus stars.
Right. And there's no, at least they didn't say here, and also the vibe I'm getting is that there's like no hard rules about it where like 3 months equals 3 stars gone. It doesn't get into any of that. That it's all, it sounds like it's all
that
relative.
was just, guys, I was making up numbers. I have no idea how much time you could take off before it starts impacting your star bonuses. I don't.
No, I know that. I just want to make it abundantly clear that was an example. But yeah, all of this is really interesting, and also means when Battlegrounds 2 comes out and I go on a bender, I don't need to worry so much about like.
You mean when Battlegrounds comes out? Because technically it's still beta.
You know what, Joss? You know what? But real quick aside, you're going to get me off topic. Real quick aside.
Okay. I thought you were just going to yell at me for actuallying you.
No. By all means. I just like, it's been a while since I've spent a lot of time with a non-Blizzard game. And so I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty on the weekends. I'm rather enjoying the new Call of Duty. But boy, that game is buggy as hell. And I know that technically Warzone is in beta, but like just the menus of the actual game itself, buggy as hell. Freezing up, frame rate issues. The game itself runs fine, but that game cannot navigate the menu without trying to murder my computer. And it just made me remember, because you mentioned that Battlegrounds is in beta, that a lot of times Blizzard betas that I'm in are more sound of code than actual shipped games from other studios that I play. And it's been a long time since I have been reminded of that. But thank you, Call of Duty, and your shoddy menus for reminding me of this. So I just wanted to, I don't know. It's been a while since anyone's been particularly hard on Blizzard, but they had a rough last couple of years. And I think it's just important to remember the games at least still work quite well. So it's been in the back of my mind. I've been thinking about it. But anyways, this is all really cool. I love that they explicitly stated here that I don't really need to stress about having like an off season where I don't play a lot of games or maybe don't rank up very high, because at the end of all of this, the biggest little piece of anxiety dangling over my head, Jocelyn, is the thought of, what if I do just go on a Battlegrounds bender? What if somehow I lose my bonus stars? Because if there is one thing looking at this ladder which I haven't experienced and hopefully never will, that concerns me, it's that if you are like new to this game and you have no bonus at all, this ladder is going to take 1 billion years to climb up.
Yeah, and I think the idea in general is that if you are new to the game, you shouldn't, like, the expectation shouldn't be that you'll be legend in your first month. Like, it's going to take a while to climb. It's going to take a lot of game knowledge. You're going to have to grind a lot of games. And, your first month, maybe, getting up into silver is a good kind of target. And then the next month you'll have 2 bonus stars. So then maybe you're going to be able to push a little bit further into silver or up into gold, which when I look at, games like Heroes or games like StarCraft, I mean, Bronze League hero for life in StarCraft, you guys, it was hard to get to silver. I think I did it like 1 time, maybe. And even then it wasn't in solo. It was like my team rank was like silver. So yeah, I got carried is what I'm trying to say. So, I mean, it took a really long time to kind of increase my MMR and increase my rating in other games. So why would the expectation of Hearthstone be any different? It's only because we've had these monthly resetting ladders that have, like we've been, going from 25 to 1 as opposed to, bronze through legend, bronze through diamond into legend, like our system's a lot more subtle now, whereas before it was very like discreet. And I like it better now. I think it reflects a little bit more of your levels of skill and accomplishment as opposed to, the way it used to be. So I'm on board.
I'm glad you brought that up because I haven't thought about a system like this coming to Hearthstone for a really long time. If you remember in the very early days of this show, because frankly in beta, we did have like a bronze through diamond system, but it was nothing like this. Absolutely nothing like this.
It had Master and Grandmaster at the top, didn't it? And if you just played at some point there, I'm pretty sure Grandmaster was a thing that you were in Hearthstone.
I do not remember that.
Was it Master or was it something else? But there was something right at the top that like everybody was able to earn if they just played enough.
Ooh,
because I remember like all the streams, like everybody was saying like Hearthstone insert term here. And it's like, yeah, everybody is that. But yeah, I'm totally blanking on what I thought it was Grandmaster, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting point anyway. So if you haven't read it, again, this is a FAQ ranked mode overhaul matchmaking on the official Hearthstone forums right now. I just did some highlights here. There's some really interesting stuff in here. They go through a general breakdown of bonus stars, which is, I think, kind of what you were getting into earlier, Joss, which is like, hey, at what rank do I get X amount of stars, and kind of what I would like to see reflected in the game. But if it does depend, I can understand the intentional decision not to display that in game.
Yeah, I think this is basically like your guaranteed numbers, right? This is like if you hit this, you will get this number of bonus stars. And then it's like, if you happen to hit Platinum 10, which should be 6, but your MMR is much higher, then might get 8 or 9. So I think it's a good system. It seems like it anyways.
Yeah. Which I guess, honestly, so if I started with 9 and my minimum for getting back to Diamond 5, because I would most likely get 9 anyway, even if I didn't reach that. That's kind of cool that like my bonus stars runs out for the last 5 to get back to like the guaranteed minimum of stars that I achieved before. I think that's a good system. I know that's not what this is saying.
It feels like you got where you should be quickly, right?
Yeah. And Celestin in chat room is dropping some really interesting like use case scenarios, which like I believe I mentioned, which is mentioned in this post, which is saying like you are not going to lose all of your bonus stars if you miss 2 months. So don't be concerned about that. You just may start to lose some bonus stars if you're gone for more than 1 month. But Celestin in the chat room saying that he knows someone who didn't play for a year and started this season with 8 bonus stars. So that's pretty nice.
In before they logged out at rank 1 legend.
Yeah. So
this may or may not actually reflect your experience.
Yeah. So that's really interesting. I mean, that seems extremely slow. But again, it seems like all of this kind of depends on certain scenarios. So
yeah,
don't take it as like a concrete thing. Like I can take a year off and still have 8 bonus stars, which it'd be a weird thing to like just state. Like, that's cool. I guess you just don't want to play Hearthstone anymore. That's okay. Or maybe you just want to exclusively play Battlegrounds now. But that would be a weird thing.